She took the wrong luggage at the airport, an innocent mistake that would soon turn her world upside down. But how could she have known that this simple mix-up would lead her straight into the life of a powerful CEO who had been waiting years for something, or someone, just like her? If you believe in fate, in second chances, and in the power of small moments that change everything, then stay till the end of this story. It might just touch your heart, and if it does, don't forget to like this video and subscribe, because stories like these remind us that even mistakes can lead to miracles. The airport was buzzing with tired travelers and echoing announcements. Among them was Sarah Malik, a young woman in her late 20s, clutching her worn-out passport and a heart full of worries. She had just lost her job, was returning home to Karachi after years of struggling abroad, and had only one suitcase, everything she owned in it. When she spotted the black luggage with the red ribbon on the conveyor belt, she picked it up quickly, desperate to leave behind the noise and exhaustion. But that suitcase wasn't hers. At the same time, Arif Sheikh, a 35-year-old CEO known for his cold precision and calm authority, was arriving from London. His luggage, identical to Sarah's, contained not just business documents, but something deeply personal, an old photo album of his late sister and a sealed envelope he'd been carrying for months, meant for a woman he had yet to find. When Arif opened the suitcase at his hotel later that evening and found worn clothes, a few books, and a small notebook filled with handwritten dreams and prayers, he frowned. But then, curiosity took over. Inside the notebook, on the very first page, were words that stopped him. Greater than, someday, I'll find a reason to believe again. Something about the writing felt fragile yet strong. He read further, poems, sketches, letters to herself, each one echoing pain and hope in equal measure. Whoever she was, this woman had a story. Sarah, meanwhile, had opened the suitcase in her small rented flat and found neatly folded suits, a Rolex, a silver pen engraved, A.S., and a letter addressed simply, to the one who reminds me of her. Confused and frightened, she decided to return it the next day. But deep inside, she couldn't resist reading that letter. The words inside revealed a man grieving the loss of someone dear, a sister he couldn't save, a love he never found again, and a wish that someday, he'd meet someone who reminded him that life was still beautiful. Tears rolled down Sarah's cheeks. She understood that kind of pain. She had lost her mother to cancer and had been struggling ever since to find meaning. When the two finally met the next morning, it wasn't just an awkward apology. It was something else, an invisible thread pulling them closer. Arif looked at her, tired yet kind eyes softening for the first time in years. Sarah stammered an apology, but he only smiled and said, maybe this mistake was meant to happen. Over coffee, they talked. One meeting turned into two. Then into a week. Arif helped her apply for a new job in his company, not out of pity, but because he saw something in her, determination hidden beneath doubt. Sarah brought laughter and warmth back into his life, something he didn't know he'd been missing. But the story wasn't all soft edges. Rumors began to swirl around the office. People whispered about her being close to the CEO, about favoritism. Sarah, already fragile, considered quitting. Arif tried to stop her, but she said, I don't want to be another chapter in your story. I want to write my own. That broke him. He realized then that love wasn't about rescuing someone, it was about believing in them enough to let them stand on their own. So, he stepped back, but secretly made sure she had everything she needed to succeed. Months passed. Sarah rose through the company ranks on her own merit. Arif watched from a distance, proud yet aching. And one evening, she returned the favor, walking into his office holding the old letter he had once written. She placed it on his desk and said softly, you were looking for someone who reminds you of her. Maybe it's time to find someone who reminds you of yourself, the man who still believes in love. For the first time in years, Arif smiled fully. Not the business smile, not the polite one, but the kind that comes from healing. They didn't rush into love. It grew quietly, like dawn breaking after a long night. Together, they rebuilt their lives, not perfect, not without scars, but real. And every time Arif saw that old red ribbon on a suitcase, he remembered that life sometimes wraps destiny in ordinary mistakes. Because sometimes, the wrong luggage leads you to the right person.